A long time ago, I lived in a warehouse on 2nd Street, no, North American Street, somewhere in North Philly, near Front Street, near the L. Okay. It was called Indoor Rooftop Studios because the cubicles that the art landlord had built into the warehouse each had like a little half roof or a roof, so you could put things on your little loft roof. So it was a rooftop indoors. Very strange. Or I guess it sort of. I mean, there was a kind of vibe there, like a Pueblo sort of feeling, maybe. Uh, what's the other one? Çatalhöyük in Turkey. Anyway, I lived there. You weren't supposed to live there, but I did for a year or something. Most of the people there didn't mind that I was living there. It was probably it felt safer to them to have somebody on the premises all the time. Um, I parked my motorcycle inside in the garage door. There's like a ramp. I would like ride up the ramp, Mr. Cool Guy, and spent all my time making things, painting, making music with keyboards and chaos later and tape recorders. And I had like Annika's dad's speakers or something. No, 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 it couldn't have been. That was no. That was here. Wow, different periods overlap. Very strange echoes. No, it was some like pioneer speakers that I'd found uh, on the street in Old City on trash day or something, and my dad's old receiver, and I would like run synthesizers through this like home speaker system, like a goofball. I think there might have been like, yeah, no, other supplemental speakers that I'd hooked up to this thing too. Oh yeah, no, I'd run wires down to my uh, cubicle too, so I could play music from the receiver in my room and in the common area. And I built a great big movie screen in there, and I had a projector. I had like a professional, it was a. I found it on Craigslist for like 175 bucks, but the guy was like an early adopter of like HD um, projectors, and it was like he had paid like 6 grand for it when it came out, and it projected 30 feet on a diagonal. It was really great big movie screen. Uh, anyway, I lived in this place, and living there, other folks lived there too at times. Howard, uh, an interesting artist and documentarian and wizard from Philadelphia, Howard Klieger, lived there when I first moved in, and we would, just we'd talk all night, but it wasn't very coherent or useful most of the time. We just, um, but anyway, living there, I did a lot of. I made a bunch of paintings, and I was making little videos and editing them and showing them. We did like a sort of filmmakers open mic called Movie Night, where the idea was that people could bring their own pieces up to 10 minutes long and show them, do it like a Q&A. And then I was just showing whatever movies I wanted to. I had a fog machine in there. Fog machine and a projector is a nice combo. With like I would put Winamp on and project like what was it called, Milk Drop or whatever the visualization program was that came with it, through the fog, you know. And did a lot of drugs there too. Robbie came around sometimes. That was where I first did mushrooms every day for a month. During that month, I also had access to a bunch of DMT that Drew had made, and I was, mixing those two together. And there were a few times when I did, when Bob got beat up, and I went and got him. I brought him up, and we took acid and the mushrooms, and we smoked a bunch of DMT as well. When the sun came up. And it felt like the sun was pouring through the building between the bricks, I don't know. That's just a like a sort of useless image, I guess, but that's something I remember. Um, I should describe the place a little bit. I mean, I don't know. It was a big warehouse building with a garage door, like a roll-up door on the one side that you had to push a button, it would go open and close. And then there was like, uh, just a commercial entrance, warehouse windows, up high, small, um, squares that you could open, I think. You could open. And then in the front there was a sort of office area that was locked. I think it was a studio. Somebody used it as a studio. There were two studios in the office area. And there was like a upright piano in there that was all fucked up. For a while I had a keyboard that had duct taped to the top of it, and you could plug it in and play the keyboard. There was a bathroom, little hallway with a bathroom, no hot water in the place, and then there was a small kitchen. As soon as you would come in through the front door to this office area, and through the right there was the common area of the warehouse, and also right through the door to the right into the warehouse, and right if you made a quick left turn against the wall inside was a little kitchen, and it looked like a little house built inside the warehouse with like farmhouse windows. There was running water in there as well, and a refrigerator, and a little electric kettle, and I think a hot plate. There was a hot plate. I had a hot plate as well in my little unit, which was everything from my house in South Philly that I could save was in this little, 12 by 14 room with a pretty high ceiling on half of it, and the other half I had hung these stage curtains that Heather gave me, and it was like a tent, almost like a tent inside. And I'd put down Luan on the floor. The floor had previously been just like half concrete and half like an old planks from when the warehouse was still used. It was like a sheet metal place originally, and it was like bare brick walls inside with like a low peaked roof with big skylight windows, those sort of chicken wire windows, and then underneath of the just big open empty rafters and ceiling there were these cubicles built with half lofts over them, and I had to build a giant a ladder. I made a ladder to get up on my loft, and I just built it out of like 2x4s. It was absurd. It weighed like 800 pounds when I was done, and kind of painted it. And then in there I had all this furniture and these like hanging curtains, bookshelves. The whole back wall was lined with all my bookshelves, and there was like tools. I still had a ton of tools, all the things I would work on motorcycles and cars with, and like carpentry tools from my dad and my uncle. Surfaces, tables. Had a desk. I could sit at my desk and write if I wanted to, like low table. I'd put this Luan down and painted the floor pink and white and red, and it was just a nice sort of womb-like environment. And there was a bed, a little twin mattress that I leaned against the wall most of the time under the stairs, under the ladder, and I would take it out and go and sleep at night. And every day I picked it up and put it. So you take the bed out and put the bed away. It actually is a good way to live. You get a lot more space once you put the bed away. Look at me, a baby bird, just hatched, ain't got no feathers. Oh well. All is breath. Vanity. So I'm just talking about Indoor Rooftop Studios, IRS. It had been called PIFA before, and it has a long history that I wasn't a part of. I lived there for like a year and a half, and while I lived there was a flood that I sort of had a hand in, mitigating. It would have been much more disastrous, I think, if I hadn't taken action. The windows were cracked. The water had filled up the roof. Around the roof there's like it's a bit, you can go up there and walk around, and there's like a little wall, and it's all tarred, but that wall area had filled up because the drains were plugged up with leaves, and it filled up so that the skylights, were covered up with water, and there was a lot of water leaking through, and they were breaking. And I found where the drain was, where nothing was going down. I sort of scooped it out, and I called my dad and asked him to bring me his big, the old orange plunger, the industrial accordion plunger, and with that I opened up the drain, and great big whirlpool going down, but it was too much for the pipe. The big terracotta pipe inside exploded, and then inside the building it was just like gushing, and I had to sort of direct as much of that as I could to the drains inside, to the lower level. Had to cover up things with tarps and try to really protect whatever I could from the water. It was right over my studio. There's also a fire there while I lived there. Somebody rested a painting on a coiled up extension cord, and it heated up somehow and burst into flames, and the painting caught fire. It was a weird time, and during that time, other terrible, weird things happened. The building fell on my car. So I got hit by another. I was getting hit by cars a lot on the motorcycles. Building fell on my car. I was robbed. All the Holy Father's statement that I'd recorded was stolen. My computer and the drive, all the writing for those years, gone. Other stuff as well. Car broken into, but then the car was smashed anyway by a building. Crushed that shit. Maybe next time I'll tell the story of the building crushing my car. I don't know what I'm doing. If you're a person watching this, I don't know why. You probably know me already, and you probably know this story. If you don't know me, write me an email. andrewgabrielrose@gmail.com.